Well, the fallout continues following Saturday's hostage situation inside a synagogue in Dallas, Texas, with new information coming to light that the British man who terrorised 4 people, holding them hostage for 10 hours, was the subject of a probe by the UK's MI5 back in 2020. So how do these types of situations keep happening? Well, Malik Faisal Akram was shot dead by cops during the siege, with an investigation revealing that he was moved from the security service's active list and was no longer considered a threat. All right, let's bring in former MI5 intelligence officer Annie Mashona. Annie, thank you very much for coming on this evening. Firstly, I'd really like to know, how does something like this happen? A person who's clearly warranted investigation, then slipping off the watch list?
It's very easy, I think, these days, because I think there are 2 failures here in this particular case. One was MI5 dropping the investigation into him, but 2, also the failure of the US immigration to catch him, even though he has a stringload of convictions, apparently, and he was trying to fly into the USA. But in terms of MI5's investigations, they are hugely overstretched. We have a situation now over the last 20 years since the war on terror began, where they have certainly moved to the era of trying to scoop up all electronic communications, both data hacking, data set hacking, and bulk computer hacking across the UK and across other countries too. So this means that a lot of information is scooped up, and they miss the key bits of information that mean that their intelligence agencies are not getting the preemptive intelligence to stop preemptively attacks. And that is a major problem. Intelligence agencies are there to do that, to preemptively stop stuff. Police then scoop up the information after an attack has happened. But what's happened in the West, particularly in the UK and the USA, is a sort of police type work. That's a problem because it doesn't protect the people of the country properly or adequately. And that's what they need to go back to, I would say.
Yeah, you sound really right there. And Annie, obviously a situation like this has a lot of people calling for accountability. In your opinion, given what you've just told me, whose head should roll here?
I think there are 2 areas of weakness that need to be looked at. One is, of course, the fact that MI5 did not have the resources because they're drowning in a tsunami of electronic intelligence, and they're not picking up on the people that they need to pick up on. And because of that, therefore, they're not passing the information on to other countries that need to know that someone might be a threat. And also, I think the US immigration authorities and Homeland Security authorities need to look at this too. I mean, going to the US is actually quite difficult for most people if you have convictions, legal convictions. And the fact that this guy had apparently a huge number and was known to be a risk under potential terrorist laws and was known to be a risk under mental health issues was allowed into the USA, that's just weird. So I think both countries need to tighten up what they're doing, but they need to target what they're doing much better as well, rather than just dragnetting all the surveillance. So countries that want to really protect their citizens need to be very specific and very targeted in how they do that protection.
How likely is it, Annie, that, following on from this siege, we can expect any change given that these agencies are just so stretched out?
I would hope that lessons will be learned, that actually they don't need the dragnet surveillance. They need to be targeted and intelligent in how they try and stop threats to their national security, threats to communities. Unfortunately, what we've seen since 9/11, so we're talking about 20 years now, was this sort of enveloping war on terror and a lot of illegal activity in terms of just picking people up and torturing them and kidnapping them and not giving them due process. What we need to do is be much more specific, much more targeted, and learn from mistakes and thereby protect our citizens better. And that's unfortunately what we haven't seen over the last 20 years. I would hope that lesson would be learnt now.